I agree with you, but I
I
don't.
think we need to like destigmatize sex in general and kind of make it just less of a big deal.
For me personally, I do value how many people you've been with.
And I don't think people should care about how many people you've gotten with.
Affirming consent, I take it the same way as any other way of flirting. You know, I'm not gonna say, do you consent to sexual intercourse at this moment? In this bed, you have to kind of think like, how do I say this sexy?
All right, so first, can we like define like what is like a few drinks? Like, what do you mean by like a few?
Okay, that's a good question. How I took it, a few was we're not totally sloshed. Like we still have our mental faculties, but it's like you just you're not having like a crazy night out. It's just you had a couple drinks, and you're just feeling it, and there. I think anything past that is like kind of an automatic no-go, but I don't see the problem if you're kind of at that level.
I kind of get what you're saying. It's just like, no matter what, like you're still drinking. It's like you're still putting a foreign substance into your body that's gonna affect how you are, no matter how sloshed you are. It's still like, it's gonna affect you somehow. And it's just like, it's gonna affect your capacity to communicate, because like consent is a two-way street. And if you're not at the capacity to both walk down it, you shouldn't be doing anything.
So do you think though that if somebody's had just like 2 beers each, just beer, like we'll say beers, right? That you're just like, you can't do anything at all because you've touched something.
I don't think, no, like it's not like completely removing it from the equation, you know? It's like just because you had a little bit of something doesn't mean, but I think it's like, it means you do have to take more time to really assess what you're gonna do, because like, it is still something, even though if it's not a lot, you still wanna take that time to be like, okay, I'm gonna do this, but 100% should make sure that both parties are okay.
I think like, because you were saying like 2 beers, right? That doesn't seem like a lot, but like most people, not everybody has like the same tolerance when it comes to alcohol. So it's like some people might have like a lower tolerance, and like 2 beers can get them fully like drunk. So it's like, to me, I disagree, because it's like you don't know how low someone's tolerance is. And if you're like, you might not be that drunk, but they're like more drunk than you think. And then it's like a different level of like mind space. I don't know if that makes sense. You get what
I
I'm
could
saying?
definitely see it as being precarious, and you have to be careful with, now your judgment's a little affected. So like seeing somebody and being like, oh, are you okay to do this? It's like, it's harder to judge where they're at. And I think it's one of those things that we were talking about earlier. It's like, if you have any kind of like, maybe this is like any questioning, you should probably like stop there.
I 1000% disagree that just ghosting someone is nicer than giving them an explanation, because as people and as a person who is very anxious, and I know a lot of people are, if all of a sudden, after being in a relationship with someone, I woke up one day and they had like blocked me and I had no way to get in contact with them, I would freak out, because that I wouldn't know like if I did something wrong or what happened. And on the flip side of that, if I had done something wrong that got me ghosted, I feel like the other person, not that they would owe it to you, but I feel like it would be the kind thing to do to tell me what I did so that the person can grow. I also think that this stems from, I work a lot with special needs kids, so everything that I do is over-communicated. Like everything that I do, I like narrate myself. And if something happens, I explain to them exactly why this happened. Like if they get a punishment, I explain exactly why it happened. And I think that that can go into just, you've loved this person and you've been in a relationship and you've obviously respected them enough to give them your time. Why would you just ghost them instead of giving them an explanation so that they can grow as a person?
I think in the context of like a serious relationship, I definitely don't think ghosting is the way to go. When I think of ghosting, I think more of like maybe you're talking to someone or you're hanging out with them, and like a lot of my friends who are girls specifically have talked to me about this, where they don't know how to reject certain guys specifically. And sometimes, you know, when you're a teenager, maybe you have like a weird ego or a weird complex, and like, I don't know. Like, I think sometimes it's safer to just kind of like let someone down gently without being so direct as to like, I'm not interested in you, I don't want to keep going out with you.
I actually do agree with you, especially like going back to the safety thing. If you're talking to someone or your friend has gotten into a relationship and it turns out that the person is not exactly who they said they were, ghosting them could absolutely be the safer option, or just blocking them. If you were in a long-term relationship and all of the sudden they started like acting really, really weird, would you ghost them or would you give them an explanation as to why you were done with the relationship?
Long term as in like a year or like?
I would say a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I was dating someone for a year and they started acting weird, I wouldn't ghost them. I would maybe not communicate exactly what I was thinking if they were acting erratically and I thought that was like not the right thing to do. If you were in a long-term relationship, would you communicate that?
How long would I have been with this person? Like long-term, short-term?
I've been dating them for 6 months and you just stopped liking them.
I mean, I would tell them. I would have an honest conversation. It would be hard. I would have to like hype myself up. I'd have to like call my friend and be like, hey, like I have to do this. But I feel like if I've respected the person enough to be in a relationship with them for 6 months, again, like not that you owe someone anything, but I would explain like, hey, even if I don't know what I'm doing, I would be like, hey, I don't know what's going on. I'm just kind of not feeling it anymore. And like, you've done nothing wrong. I am not gonna put the blame on myself either because I haven't done anything wrong. Like if I'm not in love with you anymore, that's not either of our faults. And then I would just be like, let's just not have a relationship anymore. I hate like the whole let's be friends because that like never works. But I wouldn't necessarily block them, but I would have a conversation about it's not your fault, it's not my fault, but we just, I don't want to pursue this anymore.
I think when it comes to like this whole topic, I just don't really care that much because it's just like, it's not me and like my time. Like whatever someone chooses to do in their own personal free time is up to them.
Me personally, I think it comes down to like more of a respect thing. And like for me, I kind of do care. So like I feel like it'd be a bit like insensitive to your partners to just sit and watch other girls or whatever. You know, and it's like it's a bit weird to me.
Yeah.
So
I can see how you think it's weird, but like for me personally, like they're not doing anything with my partner. Like I know, like if I feel like who I'm with doesn't know where home is at, you can say, then they're not someone I want to be with. Like it doesn't really like it would be unfair for me to like say we're walking down the street, like if I see a pretty woman, like, and I'm like, wow, she's pretty, like I would honestly be more offended if my partner didn't agree with me, because I'm kind of just like, I'm not the only person in the world, like I should, like, and I don't want to feel like desensitized to life and like that when I'm with my partner, like I'm the only thing that matters, I guess.
I agree that, you know, your boyfriend could think other people are pretty and stuff. That's just like facts. But like to actively like go look for that and then do whatever they're doing to that, and it's to another girl, it's just, to me, I would classify it maybe as cheating, because that's just looking at a naked woman. That's not you. Like that's, I don't like it.
and also for me, it's like the concept of them wanting to
Yeah,
watch it. Like you want, like you're choosing to watch this, and it's like I'm right here, you know.
Right. Yeah, but like also I think in the whole context of consent, like if I don't want to get with you and like you're feeling desires, who am I to say that you can't fulfill your own needs? Like that's not really my place to say. Like if I'm in a relationship with someone, I want the best for them, and if like they feel as if they need to clear their head that way, like it's not my place, it's their own free time. Like you have your own laptop if that's what you're gonna choose to do with it. Like that's not really my place to say. It's not to say that like you can't be uncomfortable with it. It's just like it's their body, and if they're choosing to please themselves when you're not there, that's not really your place to tell them they can't. And if you don't agree with it, then you shouldn't be with them.
No, I get what you're saying, and I love how like confident you are with like in your relationship. In that sense, it's just for me personally, that's just something like I value. I just don't think porn should be in relationships, and I think also on the topic of porn, I think it's been harmful for, you know, young kids discovering it, and so I just don't. Yeah.
So in porn, do you think like it's a good depiction to ask for, like, do they think that they like show asking for consent well?
No, not at all, if I'm being quite honest. Like, I just think that it shows a very skewed perception of it, and it gives people the wrong idea of how to ask for consent, and then it also can make people more like, for lack of a better word, I guess, like lustful, and make them be like, think, oh, this is the way it should be done. If this is what I'm seeing, this is the media I'm indulging in, they're like, this is what I should do, and this is how I should do it. And it's very harmful to many people. And I think at the end of the day, porn is also considered an addiction. You know, it's not considered just like something the way you watch a movie. It's an addiction that people have and that people also seek help for because they understand how harmful it is to not just themselves, but also to their relationships and those around them. And I just feel like it's not healthy for someone to watch it for the benefit of all the relationships, not just their sexual ones.
In my opinion, I think body language is so easy to read nowadays because it plays like a huge role in people showing their emotions, and an emotion like, you know, uncomfortableness. I feel like it's pretty easy to read.
I like to I think check in a lot with like my friends and like when I'm talking to someone and really seeing like how they're feeling. I think you're right about body language, like with your eyes and like how you're like almost like holding your like self up. Like the reason why I'm like a little bit like not fully over here is like if someone's like maybe a little bit more like quiet or is trying to like not like let you know that they're if that makes any sense, like it can be a little harder, and that's why it's like sometimes you have to like I can't just tell by like looking at them. I'd have to actually like talk to them.
I would say in a lot of shows we see today, like I was thinking of the example Euphoria. I feel like there's a lot of stuff about like sexual activity and like kissing and boys, girls, stuff like that, but there's not really any way for us to learn like how do you ask if it's okay, like is this chill, like what's an okay way to ask consent. And I think if shows depicted these conversations more, like teenagers like us wouldn't have to wonder these questions.
I think I was thinking of it like the way the question was phrased, like the shows that I watch, I feel like I don't see a lot of not asking for consent or like bad examples. But with Euphoria, you're kind of right. And now I'm thinking about it. I'm watching Sopranos, and low-key, Tony Soprano is not the best guy.
Okay, so I can already see like your perspective on this and be like, oh, well, as the person who's setting the photo, you're getting up, probably getting dressed or undressed specifically for this photo, setting yourself up for this photo. Like, yeah, there's a lot of time and like effort that goes into it. However, I think it's unfair to put someone at fault for being vulnerable, and it's also unfair to have the other person just be like, well, you sent this to me, so it's mine now, and like just go off and do whatever they want with it.
Right. But like, if you think about it in another perspective, it's like you chose to send it, and it's like it also just depends on like the person that you're sending it to. It's like if it's like a partner, then it's like, okay, yeah, that's kind of messed up. But if it's like you're sending it to like random people, then it's like, I don't know, like not to sound like a bad person or anything, but it's like, I don't know, like I feel like you don't know who that person is showing it to. You didn't do and like your research on who you were sending it to, so it's kind of your fault.
No, yeah, I totally agree with the fact that it's like if you're unsure of who the person is, then why would you put yourself at risk for something like that?
All right, so I just think the word should is kind of strong here. It really depends on how far along you are in your relationship. Whereas I guess it can be, but you can have friends that you are closer with than your boyfriend or girlfriend.
I just think that like sharing your location is something that can be turned off, and like hopefully the person that you're dating you're like friends with, you like should like be comfortable having your location on with them, and if like you break up or something bad happens, you can always just turn it off, and it's just like as simple as that. So I feel like you probably should, because I feel like if I was dating somebody and they didn't have their location on for me and they had it on for like all their friends, I would kind of feel like, why are you dating me then?
If your significant other goes, hey, you should have this on, that's like an instant red flag for me. You know, I think that there should be an understanding of the space.
Okay, I feel like it's kind of a tricky like situation because I feel like from a health standpoint, like get frequently tested and like see what's up. But I think that like people go through phases in their lives where like maybe they're getting with more people at a certain time, but I think like that should that change like your perception on them like now, if that makes any sense. Like especially if you've been in a relationship with someone and they're like they're not getting with anyone else, they're just getting with you, then it's like
I agree with you, but I don't. I mean, I feel like it definitely is important. Maybe I know some friends of mine like to kind of scale it up, like, oh, if she has this many bodies, you know, you can't mess with her. And I don't really agree with that, but I think it's super important, you know, like especially with like unprotected sex. If you're just like, you know, doing it with a lot of people, I'm not mostly like a judger, but I'm kind of thinking for myself, like I don't want to catch things and stuff, and it's like it's in, you know, you're supposed to be vulnerable. It's like a very vulnerable thing.
Like different things can mean different things to different people, but I think in general, like the idea of like purity culture is kind of, it can be very like patriarchal. Like it's kind of comes from this like possessive place of kind of like wanting to like make your mark on someone and not wanting them to be like tainted in any way. And I think a lot of that judgment, like especially as teenagers, like people don't want to be with someone who they feel like is easy or who is not worthy of them, or they feel like it's a waste of time. And I just think that's a very toxic mindset, and I think it contributes to a lot of sexual violence, because that type of thinking is not good. I don't think people should care about how many people you've gotten with. I do understand where you're coming from in terms of like, yeah, vulnerability, and like if you feel like someone doesn't see certain like actions with the same amount of like, I don't know.
Sorry, can I just say something? Personally, with the question, like I think it's important how many people you've been with, because it's something I value in a partner. That's just me personally. I know for a lot of culture, sex is very that doesn't really hold as much of an importance to it. But for me personally, I do value how many people you've been with.
But do you not feel like as a woman, you're judged a lot harsher on like your past partners versus like the way men are like in society?
Yeah, I definitely see that with society, that men, they're like, oh no, like.
Yeah, it's like normal for men to have a lot of sexual partners, but with women, it's like not. It's like not viewed the same. So I think we need to like destigmatize sex in general and kind of make it just less of a big deal. Like it doesn't need to be this big thing.
I agree, and I think that's like where I think I'm coming from in this like situation. Like society is like almost painting it out to like be such a negative thing, and sure, maybe like based off, you are allowed to like treat sex as like however you feel and the importance to you, but I think everyone is different, and I don't believe in like judging someone like fully based off like how many people they've gotten with, because there's so many, like if you've had an issue with like substance abuse too, it's like I'm not gonna judge you, and I'm not gonna like judge your character now because of something like that you dealt with, if that makes any sense.
I mean, I don't, like, personally, I don't judge people, like my friends or anyone, for like how many bodies they have. Just personally, with a partner, I wouldn't want them to have been with people just for sex. Like, I think sex is like a thing that is out of love.
But I think when it comes to a relationship, you're like, I want you to like be aware that we're like connecting. I think feelings get hurt when you're in like talking and you're getting with people, and like maybe you're like some people when you're having sex, you're like, I want this is because it's like intimate. This is you and me, this is a private, it's vulnerable, and we're being vulnerable to each other. And then if it's to the other person, I'm just like, oh, I can get with you and it'll feel like nothing. It'll just be another thing. And, you know, I'll be with someone next week. Like, that doesn't make me feel good. It just makes me feel like I'm just I'm just the next one in line.
Let's say you were dating someone for 3 months and you really like them, and then you find out that they had 10 bodies. Would you break up with them?
No, I think that would definitely be a conversation I have early on before I'm dating, because that is something that I consider when I'm dating someone. Like, you know, is this
Before you ask someone to be your partner, you would ask them how many.
That's a consideration on dating someone.
Yeah, 100%. That's something I ask if I'm seriously considering someone. You know, there's been people that I've talked to, and I won't even ask, I won't even care. But if like, you know, maybe it even comes up in casual conversation. But if I'm actually considering dating someone, 100% I'm asking. You know, I want to know, like, how sensitive are you to this? Am I just another one guy in line?
I just want to hear like an answer on like how come it's not important. Like, you just don't care if your partner's been with so many people.
I think, like, yeah, like, in a perfect world, I would love to say that, like, I'm not judgmental and, like, oh, that doesn't matter. But, I mean, no, like, I'm a person, too. Like, yeah, I would be like, wait, what? And, like, yeah, you can ask and you can, like, inquire. But I don't, like, I think the idea of, like, purity culture in general, or, like, this idea that, like, the lower your body count or, like, the less experience you have in, like, intimate situations, I don't think that ties into, like, it's not important necessarily. It can be important to you in a partner, and you can ask. And if that's important to you, that's important to you, and like, that's your opinion. But I just don't think, like, in a general sense, like, is the number of people who you've been with important? No, it's not. Or it shouldn't be, in my opinion, because I think that contributes to, like, a very toxic culture and, like, way of thinking. That's part of, like, something a lot bigger than, like, what we're talking about.
Does it matter in terms of relationship, or just like hooking up?
Kind of like your worth as a person. Like, I don't think, like, yeah, like, if you're looking for a partner and that's something that's important to you, that's fair. And, like, again, yeah, I'm a person too. Like, I'm curious. I want to know, like, if it's someone I'm interested in, like, I'll ask. But I just think, like, I can't subscribe to, like, the idea that that is, like, deeply tied to, like, your worth.
No,
Like, I don't think it matters that
No,
much.
I totally agree. I don't think it's tied to your worth as a person. That's just something that you did. I'm just saying, in a partner, I do think it's important. That's just for me personally.
So consent, I don't think it necessarily shouldn't kill the mood. It just depends, like, the context and, like, where you are. Because, like, sometimes if you're, like, let's say you're just, like, casually hanging out and you're like, can I hold your hand? Like, that's just, like, it's just, like, sometimes it's, like, out of context. But if you're, like, in the middle of something, you're like, is this okay? Like, it really depends what's happening in the moment, because you don't want it to seem so, like, abrupt and weird. Like, kind of make the person be like, oh, that's interesting. Anyways, I don't know.
Yeah, to me, you know, affirming consent is the same way. I take it the same way as any other way of flirting. You know, I'm not gonna say, do you consent to sexual intercourse at this moment in this bed? You know, you're not gonna do that. And you know, when you're first texting a girl, you're not gonna say, like, just so you know, I'm looking for a relationship with you right now, like, right off of talking. You know, you have to build up. It's the same thing as flirting, is asking for consent. You know, do you like this? Do you want more? You know, it's like the same thing. You have to kind of think about it. It is awkward for me sometimes to think, like, what do I say to progress this further? But that's the same thing as any other flirting, you know?
It's like the same thing as any other flirting, but then, like, in what context do you, like, just randomly, like, spread out a question like that that's maybe not as, like, usual for, like, consent?
That's the tricky part. Like, how do I progress this further? It's something you have to do. You know, same thing when you're flirting, trying to get someone on a date. You're not saying, like, I have this plan, let's go do it. Like, you're kind of saying, like, do you like this? Do you want more? You know, it's like you have to kind of think, like, how do I say this sexy?
In a scenario, let's say, like, you were with your, like, not your girlfriend, but just some girl you met, and you're, like, really feeling her vibe, and you're like, but then she wants to, like, do stuff, but she's not necessarily asking you. Like, would you, like, be like, no, but you do want it, but she didn't ask you for consent. She just, like, did it because she assumed that you were both, like, feeling each other. Is that enough?
Okay, so if I am feeling that there isn't something clear, it's okay to clear things up, because what's worse? Having an unclear moment and getting the karma for it later, or just making a quick clarification that'll be forgotten in the rest of what you guys are doing.
I'm just gonna say, like, the question was like, does it kill the vibe? And like, I would say like it's all right to ask for consent. Like, it's great to ask for consent. But like, the question is, does it kill the vibe sometimes? And it does. And that's okay to like admit that sometimes it's like, wait, why would you ask that? Why is that not like a normal thing? You know what I mean? Like holding hands, you know, it's like, right, what she said, like, you can't, like, that's weird. Like, can I hold your hand? Like, you know what I mean? Like, of course some people don't want to have physical touch or whatever, but it's like, I don't know, it might kill the vibe if somebody's like, it's a normal thing to hold hands. It's normal to say that it kills the vibe. It's just...
I think it's the same thing as like, you know, trying to flirt and it doesn't play out well, you know? If that person likes you and is into it, you know, if you want to be intimate with this person, you're not gonna like feel icked out by asking for consent. The same way if like I flirt with, you know, and I say something stupid, you know, it's not really gonna change things in the longer side of things. Consent is sexy.